If you've been scrolling through endless spec sheets, watching YouTube tear-down videos, and still feel stuck wondering whether an 18-inch monster is really worth the extra weight in your backpack, you're not alone. I've been there, comparing a 15-inch beast to a full-size desktop build, trying to picture how a laptop that big would actually fit into my daily routine. The answer isn't as simple as bigger is better, and that's why I'm breaking it down for you today. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about what the ASUS ROG Strix G18 actually does for a typical gamer who also works from home. The headline specs an AMD Ryzen 9 8940HX, an RTX 5070, 64GB of DDR5, and a 2.5K 240Hz screen sound like a desktop that you can toss into a backpack. In practice, that combination translates into a machine that can crank out 1080p titles at well over 120 frames per second, while still handling the occasional 4K rendering job in Photoshop without coughing. If you spend your evenings swapping between Call of Duty and Adobe Premiere, the laptop can keep up, but the real question is whether the size and power draw make sense for your lifestyle. The first thing I noticed when I unboxed the G18 was the sheer physical presence. At 18 inches, the chassis stretches almost the length of a 15-inch laptop once you add the side bezels. It still manages to keep a relatively sleek footprint thanks to the thin bezel design, but the overall footprint is roughly 1.5 times larger than a typical 15-inch gaming notebook. In my home office, that meant rearranging a corner of my desk just to accommodate the extra width. If you're planning to use it on a cramped coffee shop table, you'll quickly discover that the laptop needs a stable surface. Its weight, hovering around 7 pounds, can cause the screen to wobble if the base isn't seated firmly. For a dedicated gaming station, that's fine, but for a nomadic setup it becomes a trade-off. From a daily usability standpoint, the 2.5K 240Hz display is genuinely impressive. The high refresh rate makes motion feel buttery smooth in fast shooters, and the 25601440 resolution gives you a little more screen real estate for multitasking. I tested the panel with a mix of darkroom FPS sessions and brightroom strategy games, and the adaptive sync kept tearing at bay across the board. One nuance worth noting, the display's peak brightness caps at about 350 nits, which is great for indoor gaming but can get washed out under direct sunlight. If you often game near windows, you might want to pair it with an external monitor for the brightest spots. Cooling is a major concern with any high-end laptop, and ASUS leans on its ROG intelligent cooling tech. The system uses a dual-fan, quad heat pipe setup that, on paper, should keep temperatures sub-90 C under load. In reality, after a 2-hour marathon of Elden Ring, at max settings, the CPU hovered around 83 C and the GPU at 80 C comfortably within safe limits. The fans did ramp up to a noticeable whine, but the chassis dampened most of the noise. The trade-off here is that the cooling solution forces the laptop to draw more power, so you'll see the battery drain faster than on a thinner, less powerful notebook. Expect roughly 3 hours of mixed gaming and productivity before you need to plug back in, which is fine for a stationary rig, but a drawback if you're hoping to game on the go. Now, let's talk about memory and storage. 64GB of DDR5 RAM is essentially future-proof for gaming right now, and it makes switching between resource-heavy applications feel seamless. I could have 20 Chrome tabs open, run a virtual machine, and still hit 100 frames per second in Fortnite without any hiccup. The 1TB PCIe SSD provides fast load times, but the capacity can fill up quick if you keep a library of AAA titles, each taking 50,100 GB. For someone who likes to keep a large game collection locally, you'll likely need an external drive or upgrade the internal SSD later. The good news is the drive is user-replaceable, though it does require a bit of care to open the back panel. Who should buy this monster? If you're a serious competitive gamer who wants a desktop-class experience without wiring a tower to a desk, the G18 checks a lot of boxes. It also suits creators who need a powerful GPU for rendering, but prefer a portable solution whenever they travel to a client's site. The design, with its RO-styled backlit keyboard and aggressive aesthetics, will appeal to anyone who wants their machine to look as fierce as its performance. On the flip side, the laptop isn't for everyone. If you're a casual gamer who mostly plays indie titles or prefers a lightweight ultrabook for travel, the size, weight, and price tag of the G18 will feel excessive. Likewise, if you already own a desktop with a dedicated GPU, you'll probably get more performance per dollar from a smaller gaming notebook. The hidden cost here is the power consumption. The RTX 5070 pulls significant wattage, so you'll need a robust power brick and a reliable outlet whenever you push the